how you...
Do you mind if I just give you some sound so we can hear what you're saying? Right, you can go off on one. So yes,
Hang on a minute.
£50.
Are you videoing?
Yeah, I've got you.
£50 a day for deliveries of a lorry. Well, if you think about how many businesses there are in Cambridge throughout the whole of the town centre and down Mill Road and Hills Road and all the rest of it, and then you've got customers coming in that want a delivery or something in 2 or 3 days, which is basically my business revolves around customers needing things soon, otherwise they'd order it from the internet in plenty of time. So most of my business is lastminute.com, and if I'm having a supplier charge me, you know, £50 surcharge on deliveries for goods, there's just no way I can survive, because I order from suppliers 6, 7, 8 times a week. In fact, I've got 3 orders today from just in one day, you know, so that would be £150. Well, you know, on a really quiet day, I probably only take £150, you know, so, you know, it's just not feasible for that to work. They'd have to come up with a different solution to that.
What impact do you think it would have on your customers?
Well, you know, I would say to them, look, I'm sorry, I can't get it for another 2 weeks, and they'd just walk out. You know, they'd just stop coming into the shop and ordering things. They'd anticipate things and more and order on the internet. I mean, basically, I think something like that would probably have an impact on 50% of the business owners in Cambridge. You know, I don't know where they get that idea from.
Last week I asked the mayor, I asked the council whether they had done an impact analysis on business. They said no.
Really?
They said no.
That's the first thing they should do. I mean, business is affected dramatically since lockdown anyway. I would have thought that, I mean, first of all, they haven't got the infrastructure in place for the amount of people that are going to want to either cycle in or use the tram or the buses.
Oh, they've got an answer for that.
They've got an answer.
300 extra buses.
Right, okay.
And they're going to wipe away Parker's.
Well, I get on a bus, or I try to get on a bus from Camborne, and the buses are invariably 20 minutes late or 10 minutes early. So often I'll miss the bus, and then the next bus might be 15 or 20 minutes after the time it should be, and then I end up opening the shop late, you know. So I don't bother trying to get the bus anymore, because the buses are so bad in terms of being on time, you know. I mean, it's all right having an app and everything, but if you're not updating the app and the buses aren't sticking to the times on the app, then you're going to miss your bus, you know. So I mean, residents must be really annoyed with this idea of a congestion charge. I mean, I've spoke to a few residents, and they're not happy at all. I mean, we're all for having the town centre as a greener, better place to be, and less traffic. But unless you look at it properly and have a look at the impact that it's going to have at every level, whether it's a resident or a shop owner or a business owner or whatever it is you're doing in town, then it's just not feasible just to push it through and think that it's going to work. I don't think.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know your name.
Mark.
Mark
Davis, I'm the owner of this.
Davis.
Yeah.
Okay, D-A-V-I-E-S.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And do you have an email address I can just send you a link to get you to see it and make sure I'm not doing anything you don't want me to do?
It doesn't matter. They don't like me at the council anyway, so...
Okay, we're all in that bucket.
But if you want to...
Yeah,
this is what Elisa Machini said yesterday. This is what...
what does she do?
she's the chair of the GCP.
Right.
Whether the hours can be made shorter, whether businesses can be helped by having discounts, by not having the charge set as high as it was in the original plans, and just how we manage to deliver as many of those buses as well as we possibly can with as much money.
Basically, she says, you know, we're going to go ahead with a watered down version of what we proposed before.
I mean, they put in these bollards and everything, right, for cyclists, and the chaos that causes for emergency vehicles and also just traffic generally. And then when you get down to the Royal Cambridge, they've changed that lane going off down to Trumpington to one lane, whereas it used to be 2 lanes. So the traffic could either go right down Fen Causeway or straight onto Trumpington. But now it backs up on a busy day onto Newmarket Road. Yeah. And I've tried to get down on a Friday afternoon, and you just can't get down there. It takes half an hour just to get down to the Royal Cambridge, and that's if you're pushing in and being aggressive. It's just unbelievable.
Exactly. I've set up a Facebook page about the East Road Magic Wands, as I call them, where all the ambulances get stuck and the fire engines, and they didn't actually go and ask the emergency services before they installed those.
That doesn't surprise me.
I went and knocked on the door of the fire station, and they said no, they deliberately take a longer alternative route rather than come down East Road.
Yeah.
So in other words, they take longer to go to a fire site, and potentially somebody could die.
Yeah, and not only that, you're not only affecting private business, you're affecting things like that are there for the general public, like the leisure centre. Okay, people are going to have to pay money just to go to the leisure centre. That's just one example, but I'm sure there's loads of examples around town.
We were talking to some people at the Bowls Club in Chesterton. I've watched there are a lot of people who joined that, and they're all saying that it's going to reduce. A lot of retired people rely on that for social interaction, and it's going to cost them far too much. They won't be able to afford it.
Yeah, I'm quite sure that's the case, and the problem is that it doesn't seem as though anyone's actually listening to what people are saying around town. I get people coming in saying various things, and if they do just push it through, it's going to have a massive impact on the town, and people coming into town, and your visitors, isn't it? I mean, visitors are going to drop.
Deputy Labour councillor resigned 10 days after being appointed, Alex Collis, and she said the reason she joined is because the party isn't listening, that they're basically taking the 3-line whip from Westminster. So
yeah, well,
what's the point in local councillors?
Yeah, I mean, it's no good having a compromise if that compromise is just a test bed. There are other options that could be looked at. I mean, I'd have to sit down and have a think about it first of all. Well, I can't just come up with it off the top of my head.
We gave them 2 pages of alternative options. They chose to reply to us the day before, at 10 o'clock at night, the day before the release of the report on the consultation.
Right.
With a whole load of, no, we can't do that.
There are examples. Edinburgh, Manchester, Newcastle have all got integrated transport plans, so they come in by tram.
Yeah.
People want to use the trams because it's 10 times quicker than a car.
Yeah, of
and
course.
They're more regular, to the point that you brought up earlier.
Yeah, but I mean that's great, but
by the way, no one else has produced their recommendation. No one else has ever installed anywhere in Europe. How do you think that's going to go?
Yeah, I just think it's just not been thought through properly. Same with most of the things in Cambridge. When they close roads down and all the rest of it, the chaos it has, and then they have to start backtracking.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. They told me that we should get our customers to come on bikes.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see them carrying a big sheet of metal down the road on a bike. Yeah,
Yeah. Do you ever see the film The Plank?